Hello and welcome to the lecture on positioning the boxes. Now that you have learned how to create the box, how to move around the boxes, how to place them in line, the third thing that you have to learn is how to position the boxes. Okay, so let's create one example and understand what is positions means. Position means how do you define your boxes onto the page. You have the full control of where you want to place it, and once you place it, do you want to move it or you don't want to move it, or you want to make it fixed, and how is the alignment like? Is it the alignment with the parent or without the parent? So that's what we're going to learn in positioning the boxes. So let's do the first example. So we say position fixed. Okay, so let's open this up. That's the boilerplate code. So that's the position example. All right, so let's try to create the positioning first. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an announcement. Okay, what I want to do is logically what I want to do is I want to have an announcement. An announcement on the top, right? Like saying get this 10% off, right? And then I also want to have an announcement on the bottom. Okay, I want to have these two announcements on top and the bottom. Bottom is I want to have a fixed element at end of the page, means it is fixed. Even when you move through the page, these announcements are visible. Okay, and then I want to show some lorem ipsum so that I can move around the page up and down. All right, so I will copy and paste the code here. That's the plain HTML. Okay, and what we're learning is how to positioning this announcement on top and bottom, fixing those position on top and bottom. If you see here now, right, you have your text, and I want to have this two announcements, one on top and one on bottom. Okay, so let's do the CSS and understand how it can be done. Okay, the first thing is we will have body and HTML and say we want the width to be 100, height to be 100%. Okay, so that's the fixed height, right? Then for each paragraph we want to have a margin of 0 auto, so it comes to the center, and maximum width that you can have for paragraph is 600 px. Okay, so it can go floating all around the width, and margin on top I want to have a 40 px, so there's a margin on top. I'm adding some margin there, and I also wanna add the line height so that it's readable is easier, right? You have a line height, right? So next I will change the font, so I can apply that to body. I can say font family is Georgia Sheriff. Okay, and H1, this one I want to make it center. Okay, so I will say text align center. Okay, so this align center. Okay, this is just the normal formatting I'm doing. Now I want to get this on top and this one on the fixed somewhere on here in the bottom. Okay, so let's define this top and bottom. Then we'll have bottom as well. Okay, for the top, get this 10% off. That's nothing but your utility bar on the top. So what I want to do is I want to have a background color for it, and I want to say red in color. So you have red in color, and color I want to have it white, so it's visible onto the red. right? Then I want to have an padding of 20 px, so it looks little bigger, right? And text align, I want to make it center. Okay, so text is aligned center, and I want to add a opacity so that it's little transparent, right? Little transparent. When you have the text floating around, I'll show you, it will be transparent. Then position, right? This is the element that we want to learn, right? Position, you can define where you want it. So position, I want one of the properties fixed, means it will always be on top. You see, it's floating on top and the opacity is already available. Okay, we'll move the bottom down, so this will cover the whole area. Okay, so we'll say the position is fixed because starting from here the position is fixed. Now you can change the position by saying left. Okay, you can say left is 0 px, bottom is 0 px. You don't have to add px, just say bottom left, and then you can say right is 0, right? So it went down. Okay, so from bottom we say top, right? So it will go to top. Okay, so top we have added 0, left is 0 and right is 0, so it went up. All we can do is we can copy paste this. Okay, and the only thing to bring that thing down, right, to bring that announcement down, instead of top you can say bottom. Okay, so it will go down bottom, right? So simple to play around. The magic is coming from the positioning. When the position is fixed, you can decide from, let's move this down. You can decide, like, from top you want 10, right? It's coming down. You see, it's coming down. If I say, and you can see this, so we can type and see how it is behaving. 30, 60, 90. Okay, it's coming down. So when you say position as fixed, you are putting the box somewhere onto the page and you're deciding how you want to position this, right? You want to position from 50. So you see, it is from top you have some like 90 px space, then 50 px you are adding some space, and you're starting it the position of this box from here. When you remove those things, it sits on the top. When you add the bottom 0, means bottom there's no space, then start floating from the bottom. Okay, so that's how you play around with position fixed. And if you scroll, you see the position is not moving, and you have the opacity, nice opacity, so that you can read the text behind it. Okay, you can see the position is not moving because your position is fixed, right? So here you have to say margin, then this will be in center, right in center. Okay, so you have added a nice announcement on top and also on the bottom, okay, with a simple CSS, right? Let's look at one more example of positioning absolute. Okay, so let's open this file. For this we will delete all the conditions here, and then we'll try to understand what is position absolute means. Okay, so I'm going to create a container, then I'm create a box. Okay, this is like a parent and child relationship, how the box will relate itself with the parent. Okay, for anything that you write, the parent is HTML starting point. You create a container, I will make container as a parent. So I'm going to see what I'm going to do here. So you can add the background. This time we'll see in RGBA. You can say 0, 0, 4 just to play around with it. Height is 250 px. I'm just trying to have a box. Width is 250 px. I'm adding a margin left 300 px, just some margin from the top as well, 150px. So this create a box. I'll create one more box and I'll say height is 150px, a smaller box. Width is 150px, and this background color I will put some hexa code decimal for it. Okay, then from top I'm adding 50px, from left I'm adding 50px, then positioning, right, this time I'm saying absolute. Okay, that's the key, that's what we are learning of position. And then we'll create a container. Okay, and we'll say this is container, and then we will have a div class is equal to box, and we'll call it as a box. Okay, so what is the purpose of positioning being absolute? So look at the example. So if you look at the example, there are two boxes. So let's do container, we say color white. Okay, so you have your container, you have your box. Understand this concept, very important, because this will help you to draw boxes better, draw the elements on the page better. So you have drawn two boxes. So let's understand how this thing works. So you have a container and inside that you have a box. But if you look at the output, they are actually two different boxes, you know, have no relation between it. But if you look at the HTML code, they are actually parent and child. Okay, what you have done is you have removed the child and then you have made it absolute, means you have removed the relationship between child and the parent, and then this child basically following the absolute of the HTML page, means it is starting 50-50 from here, from the top, from 0, 50 here, 50 here, right? If I remove position as absolute, if I delete this, right, the box go back to its parent. Okay, and the box basically following the container, because that's how the relationship and you have written in the HTML. The box is a child of a parent, right? But you want to break this relationship. You want to say box is not a parent for a container. You want to move this box outside and you want this HTML page to be its parent. So what you will do is you will put an absolute here. So for this box, the HTML starting point becomes the parent. Okay, you have broken the relationship between this. And once you say absolute, means the parent is nothing but the HTML. So go back to the great grandparent, that is the HTML margins, start from 0, 0 here, and then add top 50 and left 50 here. Okay, if you remove this, always your parent child will be attached together. Okay, so what you're doing is you're breaking the relationship. That's nothing but position of absolute. And if you have to have a relative, means you want to put this box inside and then play around inside this box, there's one more property called as relative. So let's look into that. Okay, so what we can do is we can copy paste this code. We can say position relative and we can open that file. Okay, and you can view it here, close it, have a new preview out of it. Okay, and all you have to do is you have to say relative, right? If you don't say relative, then the floating will not happen. There's no floating, you cannot control the box. But you want to control the box, you say relative. Once you say relative, this becomes the immediate parent is the container. That's how you have defined it here, right? So that's how it start moving itself, right? The box is moving top 50 and left 50. The position it is trying to take from the container. Okay, if you say absolute, the position is taken up from the HTML, right? That's the starting of the tag. But you don't want to do that. You want to say, okay, I want to follow the relative, means I want to follow my parent. So the parent for this box is container. So based on this relativity of this container, it's trying to move from the container. So making container as a parent, it is saying, okay, I want top 50 from my parent and left 50 from my parent, and it is relative to this position. Okay, absolute means it has no relationship with the parent, it breaks out of that whole box and start floating up from the starting. Fixed means you can completely take out of the whole flow of the boxes and you can place anywhere onto the page. Okay, so these are the three properties. One is position fixed, position absolute, and position relative. Okay, so that's all the example on the three positioning of the boxes, and I'll see you in the next one.